Toutouwai, the threat classification was changed and they're now considered at-risk declining.
We've been working for about 15 years to get to this point. When you get a sense of just how much work's gone in to prepare the Turitea for this release.
They will be treasured.
We are at Bushy Park, and it is a mainland sanctuary with a predator-free fence, which is an excellent site for a source population to provide for these translocations. We're just here and being fortunate to have this taonga to bring to a new release site and start a new population in Turitea.
So essentially you're bringing together a group of people with diverse backgrounds and skills that you need to complete the translocation. Once we catch our first bird, the clock starts ticking because that first bird sets our window for the release of the last birds. And with toutouwai, the robins, North Island robins, we essentially want to move those birds within 3 days of the first bird being caught. We've been really lucky. Yesterday we caught 37 birds in 1 day. We've got a fantastic team, a lot of really skilled people who have donated their time for this translocation.
There we go. Okay, so I'm just putting some mealworms, which are these lovely little wriggly things here, into the trap because robins love mealworms and they think they're very tasty. Oh, there are 3 of them. Right, so we've just caught this little bird in the trap and now I'm going to pop it into a nice dark bag to help to keep it calm. I pop it in there carefully. Just make sure that it can't escape. I've worked with robins for on and off for probably over 20 years. They're a species that's really special to my heart, and yeah, I was involved in one of the first mainland reintroductions many years ago and did my masters on them and my PhD, and now I'm helping out with this translocation too, which is wonderful.
So this little bird's just come in, and what I'm going to do is just weigh and check and then ban the bird and do a brief health check on it. It was caught 9 minutes ago, so a really nice quick turnaround for the processing, which is what we really like. And we have another little friend who keeps an eye on us while we're working. So we measure it primarily to have a good guess at sexing it. It's quite hard to do, but today we're also measuring it out because Zoe's going to put a transmitter on the bird, and she's preparing the transmitter right now. We're now going to ban the bird. It has a unique number which identifies it as an individual, but we're also going to add 3 colour bands to it, which means that we can also easily identify it at a distance just with a pair of binos. So a little bird which will go across for a transmitter now. Right, so we do the transfer.
We've just put on a harness, so it's just gone over the legs, and we've got a little transmitter sitting on the back, and you can see this aerial coming out the tail, and so that's nice and bendy so it won't get caught. And you can hear that beep, and so that little beep is what we're looking for in the forest.
You can see it's a custom-made bird box. Now it's made for cats, of course. You can see there's a tin of mealworms for food, and there's a dish of water, and there's also a little perch.
So as part of this project, we're having to have the birds in captivity temporarily before going to Turitea, the release site. So in that time, we are responsible for just their husbandry. So basically changing out their food 2 times a day and then just monitoring them while they're held in the boxes.
So they are quite high pitch. The opportunity to reintroduce a species that would have been here up until after colonisation is really awesome. So we do thank our Ngārauru whānau for enabling us to take their taonga back down to Hami. They will be treasured.
what we don't necessarily realise is that other birds like the toutouwai, the threat classification was changed and they're now considered at risk declining. So they're in this odd space where they're not really declining at a fast enough rate that the Department of Conservation has to focus on them as a species, but they are declining. And we're in this really interesting position where there's community groups and local government and so forth who are protecting patches of habitat, and by doing that you're essentially increasing the security of those populations, you're returning them to their former distribution, and there's this really lovely opportunity for the community to get something back into their site. They're very engaging, and people think they're coming in because they like you and they're really interested in what you're doing, but what they're actually interested in is the disturbance that you're creating by moving through the bush. And they'll follow along and they're hoping that you've disturbed the leaf litter, which makes it easier to find the invertebrates that they like to eat. We're good to go. Bruce and I will go jump in and we'll start loading.
Okay.
What we're doing now is we have 40 birds that we need to transport southeast down to Turitea, and we have 2 vans. We can put 20 birds in each van, and this is a really delicate part of the process. The birds don't like it. It's quite stressful for them, and it's stressful for us as well. So what we do is we move the birds in darkness. We put them into the back of the van, sitting on camping pads with thick foam in between them. The windows have been blacked out, and the drivers are careful. The air conditioning's on cool, and we give them a nice quiet ride, and most of them will probably sleep the whole way.
Toki nui te toki, toki roa te toki, ko te toki nātū, ko te toki no rongo. Nui ui te mana, ringa tānei ka tākoto ki raro, nā mana I rongi I raro. Te whiwhi te toki nei, ka pā te toki ki waiki ka tapu ka no. Tēnei te hau, ko te hau tū, ko te hau tāwhiri mātia. Wairi e ki ronga, wairi e ki raro. Tākaro, haumi e hui e, tae ki e. So as we prepare to bring the birds up, we trust that they will be greatly received and find whenua for their own and multiply. Rangitani, when they first established in the Manawatu, established at the Pāhiatua track, and so this is the whenua that they first started collecting mahinga kai. So having these special little birds come back in is quite cool in that cultural sense. They too are now colonising in the birthplace of Rangitani in the Manawatu, so quite special.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a stunning spot. It's really beautiful, and it's nice. There's bellbird and tui. There's a whole bunch of popokati are calling over there as well, so it's a really, really nice spot.
Comparing from when we started, the change has been amazing. The quality of the bush, I remember when we first came in, some of the pungas were just so chewed out from possums they hardly had any green left on the tops of them, and you don't see that now. We've been working for about 15 years to get to this point through the council, extensive predator control operation over about 40 square kilometres, I think somewhere in the order of about 2,000 traps. When you get a sense of just how much work's gone into prepare the Turitea for this release. Because we don't have a fence at Turitea, that's work that's going to have to be ongoing as well in order to safeguard the birds as they hopefully thrive and maybe even spilled out into the city and into the sledge track and the like, so that the public can see them.
Later, Barney.
Haven't managed to sight all of them, so we can kind of tell with the aerial that they are moving because the signal's kind of waving around. We've sighted a couple of them and they all seem to be doing healthy. We've fed them a few worms to get them fed up. I'm going to be around for the next 9 weeks tracking these birds, so we're going to do a combination of the drone on good nice days like this and try and get into those more remote parts of the reserve, and then on the other days I'll be on ground trying to get in a bit closer, maybe visually sight those birds to just check that they're doing okay.